rumors say we love the alcohol. La 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 la. Just line 'em up and we will drink them all. La 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 la. But my mother always said, if you want to drink all day, you best start in the morning, son, 'cause that's the Irish way. We don't get drunk, we get awesome. And every other mother will agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome. So order up around for you and me. We don't get drunk, we get awesome. And every mother must agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome. So order up around for you and me, and you and me, and you and me. Let there be whiskey.
Hey everybody! Welcome to Nerds with Alcohol. I'm Chris.
I'm Russ.
And this is episode 188.
188, back in the nerd basements. As you can see, Chris has got a little different setup today. He is streaming from his office.
That's right.
Chris, there's still, I'm looking at the Twitch stream and it says there's a network error. Please try again.
I am pulling that up right now to see.
Yeah.
It actually just started playing for me, so.
Here, I will refresh it. Let's see if maybe that helps at all. Yep, there it goes. All right, that was my bad. So anyway, Chris, you're in your office instead of the nerd basement this week, huh?
Yep, I am actually in the nerd office, so.
Coolio.
I got my Star Wars stuff in the background there. I got my Firefly 15th or 10th anniversary poster off to the side there. My my shelves of nerd stuff. Picture of Jim Butcher.
Exactly. Jim Butcher. Speaking of, we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff today that came out of the Comic-Con at home.
Yes.
And
so much to talk about.
The main things we're going to be talking about. You know what? I'm an idiot. I left my drink in the fridge. I'll be right back.
Oh yeah, sure. Just leave the show. Let me sit here and talk. I'm pouring mine, which is a really cool color. So yeah, that was the San Diego Comic-Con or the Comic-Con at home was this weekend. It was actually kind of cool that they were able to do so many panels and so many interviews. Some of them were pre-recorded, some of them were live. But
we're live, yeah. All at the very least, they were all shown at a specific time. So
yes.
Yeah, it looked like some of the interviews have been done like maybe a month or 2 months before or whatever. But then some were.
And now they're all on YouTube.
And now they're all on YouTube. Exactly. You can go to the Comic-Con at home page. Chris, it doesn't look like. I'm not seeing anything here on the page. It shows like a minute and 10 seconds of us, and then it cuts out.
Well, see, I'm seeing it stream just fine. It looks like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. At least on the live stream.
All right. Well,
in the stream manager.
Okay. I'll pull. I just closed off the window. Maybe I'll reopen the site. But anyway, at the very least, it was Comic-Con at home. There was a lot of information got dumped, to everybody about different things about what's going on. There was a wide range of things that you could watch. There was some really really cool stuff. Oh yeah, there was. Well, maybe it just took me reloading the page. There was just a ton of really, really awesome information, and like one of the things that was really cool was like at least one of the different things like they decided opened the show specifically their interviews specifically with dealing with talking about the issues today about Black Lives Matter and stuff. It was I think actually it was the panel for Hellstrom.
I haven't watched that one yet.
It was pretty cool. The creator wanted to address exactly like some of the things that were going on, and had some of the people that were on the cast, so a couple of the people of color, and allowed them to actually gave them a platform kind of talk about, some of the things that are going on in the country right now, and it was pretty cool. And then they got into the show, so it wasn't all just talking about political stuff. So it was pretty cool. But yeah, overall, man, some really great stuff. I think I posted more shit to the Nerds with Alcohol page over the last couple of days than I have in months. So for those of you guys who want to check out, we've got some really great links to a lot of the stuff. If you want to go if you want to see any of those videos and go through some of them, like I just posted ones that were I found to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And that I thought that things related to stuff that we've talked about on the show, like we're obviously Firefly, we're Firefly fans, we're browncoats. So I posted the thing about the interview with Nathan Fillion. We both talked about being fans of Farscape. I posted the video about the interview with some of the people from Farscape. Star Trek, I posted that. There really wasn't a whole lot of Star Wars stuff, which was weird, I felt. They really didn't talk a whole lot.
Too much Civil War going on inside the Star Wars camp right now.
Yeah, probably. There was a video about talking about the differences in philosophy between Star Trek and Star Wars, but I felt like that's a level of nerd I didn't want to approach at this point in my life. But anyway, so you can go to the Comic-Con at Home page in Comic-Con International page or channel on YouTube, and you can see all of these videos.
Or you can just go to the Nerds with Alcohol show Facebook page and find a lot of them.
Yes, exactly. Or you can do that. I will be posting some more. They've still got about, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 9 more videos that I'm going to be watching, and at about 45 minutes apiece. That's some watching time. So,
yeah, it is.
So I've got something about, they did a thing about Alex Ross and his a project he's working on, this new thing, a documentary. I've also got there's a panel with the cast from the Goldbergs. We've talked about the Goldbergs and how much Chris really liked that show. There's some
very nostalgic.
Right. There's the Comic-Con at Home talk with Todd McFarlane, and it's also leading up to the sci-fi special thing they did about him. The sci-fi did an Untold Tales of Todd McFarlane kind of thing, and it's like a documentary about him. The dude has had some ups and downs, that is for sure. We've also I haven't watched them yet, but DC Comics did a DC at Home Day 1 and Day 2. So basically just kind of spotlighting things that are going to be coming from DC, and also something from Marvel Comics' next big thing. Marvel and DC both tend to have some big info dumps at San Diego, so it should be interesting to see what they have to say about what's coming up. Mm-hmm. So, and also I think I had something from Amazon Prime here. Oh, something about a show called Utopia, and it's based on a graphic novel. I just kind of put that up. If it's interesting, I will. Excuse me, I'll be adding it.
And you haven't really started drinking yet. You already got the hiccups.
No, well, I just had... My sleep schedule and my living schedule have been really weird lately. I was up half the night working on some art stuff, and then so I got up kind of late. And the first meal of the day I've had was a bowl of cereal, and it's kind of repeating at me a little bit. So, although it is after 8 o'clock now, I think I've only been up... I woke up at 3... and I got out of bed at 4:30 after I was done fucking around on Facebook and stuff. So that is my life right now, Chris. That is my life. That is my life, and it's it's starting to get to me a little bit. You know, you ever start to feel guilty when you have one of those days where you slept really late and you're not going to get anything done, particularly before the quarantine happened and everything, and it was a Sunday and you slept till noon and you're oh, I feel so guilty. I feel like that every day.
Dude, I sleep till noon and my day is fucked.
I know.
I can't sleep that late.
Because you're used to getting up at 6 a.m.
I sleep till 9:30, and I'm feeling like, oh shit, I gotta get up. I need to get some stuff done.
I've started since quarantine has happened. I've started to say Monday is my fuck it day. I just if I don't do anything on Monday, it's whatever. I mean, I try and get at least some drawing in every day.
Mm-hmm.
And yesterday I did quite a bit actually, but I still, like I said, I just have been getting up late, and Stella, she had a tough time sleeping last night, so she slept a little late, and then sometimes she'll go to bed, get up, fuck around, do some stuff around the house, and then she'll come back to bed and nap for a while, and then that makes me sleep later. And thankfully, Dresden was at least a really good boy today and just let us nap.
Yeah, that's the problem. When you have dogs, a lot of times they don't let you nap. I try and nap in the afternoon, and my dogs are fine, and then, they heard something outside, they got to let me know. So they come into the bedroom and start barking.
Yeah, of course. Come on, Dad, wake up, come on, wake up.
There's something outside.
Dresden,
there was some sketchy leaf that just rolled through the yard.
Dresden will jump up on the bed and just start whining and licking my face. And if I don't move, then he goes away for 5 minutes and comes back.
That's a big tongue.
Yeah. Exactly. So just the whole fucking thing. So we do have a lot to talk about, so we should probably kind of get moving along. How was your week? You have a good week?
Yeah, actually, it wasn't bad. Back to work now. I was on vacation last week, so it was a good week.
Right. How's your foot?
It's I've been in the boot for 2 weeks now, and it's finally starting to show improvement.
Oh, okay.
I still wear the boot every day like I'm supposed to. I actually have it off right now just to get some air on my leg, but because I'm just sitting here. But for the most part, if I walk around, I've got it on. But I walk around in the morning a little bit. I can walk without pain as long as I'm really careful. So it's getting better. Every once in a while I do something stupid because I forget that I'm hurt, and it reminds me real fast. But other than that, I started back to work this week, getting back into the groove of doing that. But yeah, other than that, it's been pretty good. I'm really looking forward to this week though, because this week's going to be a good week. I got gaming both Friday and Saturday this week, so. Our game Friday night, actually. Don't forget.
Right. Yes, of course. I'm looking forward to it. It's crazy how we start to look forward to things that we took for granted before. During this quarantine.
I'm looking forward to the day we can actually be around the table again.
Yes, for sure. But yeah, just things like the social gatherings and stuff like that. My friend, my former roommate Amanda, swung by yesterday to pick up her mail, and she had some mail that was here, and we hung out for 4 hours. I didn't expect for her to stay as long as she did, but it was great. And she and I and Stella just kind of got caught up and bullshitted. I work with Amanda at the Parade Company too, and she's been there on and off working on a big head, an extra big head that we made that we were contracted to make. And I'm just talking about getting back to work and starting back, and I'm hoping to be back to work next week. And talking about motivation and about how my motivation is shot to hell. I've got all kinds of chores and shit I could be doing around this house, but I'm not, because I'm just fuck it. What's the point, And so it was, it's just, it's making me realize how important it is to spend the time with the people we have, with the people we care about and stuff, because we never know when something like this could happen where they're taken away from us. And even if we can converse like you and I do, and I mean, hell, like I said, I miss us being in the same room.
Yep.
As convenient as this can be, as I just can go into my office and start up the computer, we can do our show. I miss coming over to the house and being, and in the same room with you and stuff. And I don't know, man. It's just this shit is getting to me. It's really starting to get to me, man.
Yeah, we had a friend that just one of my buddies from curling. He called me up and he's like, or he texted me. He's like, "Hey, you guys home?" And on Saturday, and we're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "You mind if I stop by for a few?" And I'm like, "No, man, come on over." I hadn't seen him in quite a while, and so he came over. He was over for a few hours, and it was cool just having someone else here and hanging out.
Yeah, exactly. Just having somebody in the same room with you, you know,
Yep.
somebody that's not your significant other, you know. I think I'm this close to driving Stella nuts.
Dude, I think you drove her nuts a while ago.
Oh, probably. Well, it's a short trip, brother. Yeah, it's a short. But no, like it's kind of funny. Like I'll come in from the next room and I'll, give her a little pinch, or I'll, come out from, and give her a big hug and kind of squeeze her boobs a little bit or something, and she's all like, and she rolls her eyes and whatever. It's like, oh God, and I'm just waiting for her to like spin around and like cold cock me at some point,
She may very well.
Yeah,
you'll deserve it.
Yeah, probably. Give her a kiss on the cheek and then lick her ear. It's just whatever. But anyway, like I said, I'm a person that likes having company and having people over and stuff like that. And this is really starting to wear on me. I'm sorry about my computer constantly going off. Apparently, there's a lot of things going on Facebook and shit, and I don't know how to. I can't mute that. So, anyway, I'm glad your foot's feeling better, and back to work and everything. So I still, like I said, I'm still finding out. Like I said, I'm gonna probably give them a call if I don't hear from them by the end of the week. I'm gonna give them a call and say, guys, come on, August 1st is like the day after tomorrow. I need to come back to work. It's driving me crazy. We do, like I said, I was talking to Amanda. She has been at the studio. She says we've got at least 2 floats to make, probably a third one. They're going to be big because I don't know if you guys heard the news, but or if I mentioned it yet. But Art Van was the previous primary sponsor for the Detroit Parade for Thanksgiving, and since they have shuttered and closed their doors, we didn't have a primary sponsor, and we do have a new one, and it's Gardner White.
Oh, wow.
So we do have a sponsor now, another primary sponsor. We did have several sponsors, but we always had the primary one. And so Gardner White, which is Art Van's like probably biggest competitor in the area, they are our new sponsor. So we'll be making a float for them. We are making a float for Blue Cross Blue Shield. We're still talking about what the parade's going to look like and what things are going to be like. They're talking that there probably won't be any marching bands this year. Largely because school is still up in the air, and because 50 kids blowing into various kinds of instruments doesn't sound like a great way to social distance.
Yeah.
So my guess is that there will be balloons and floats and probably no marching bands, but we'll see. I don't know. They're still figuring it out, and everything. This weekend was supposed to be a Renaissance Festival event at Eastern Market Sunday. It is still going on, but it looks like it's going to be much smaller than normal. They will be selling turkey legs, though. If you guys have a hankering for a Renaissance Festival turkey leg, there will be turkey legs at the event. So that's going to be there's that. Apparently the cast will not be there this year. So it will be, like I said, it'll be a smaller kind of thing, but there will be, I don't know if there's going to be vendors. I hope there's going to be maybe some vendors. Who knows? There's been a lot of discussion over the last few days about whether the Ren Fair is opening or not. We're still operating under the idea and that they are going to open in less than a month.
Yeah, it's
in like 23 days, something like that. I believe it's like the 22nd of August, and it is the 28th today. There's also, but I mean, it's still kind of up in the air. There's still a lot of speculation, and people are mad. A lot of the former entertainers, and I mean, even if we do have a Ren Fair, it's going to be strikingly different from any Ren Fair you've ever seen. excuse me, my bet is that it probably won't open because the state isn't going to be ready. We're not going to be in stage 6 because we're in like stage 3 now.
I'm seeing this is for like indoor events like concerts and stuff, but still, I was seeing an article today that they were talking that there's stuff being put through right now to try and save like music venues, like the small ones, like Royal Oak Music Theater, things like that, where because they're talking it could be a year or more before we start seeing large events again.
Yeah, my friend Kevin, I was talking to my buddy Kevin, and he's a performer. He is an opera singer and performer and stuff, and he had a number of gigs lined up. He just got his master's degree. I guess he is also doing some teaching and whatnot. And he said that it could be 2024 before we see a return to complete normalcy when it comes to outdoor any kind of performance, particularly Broadway. Broadway may be. They said it'll slowly start to come back, but it'll probably be by 2024 before we actually see a return to what we would consider normal. And that's really saying something. That's pretty incredible. I mean, I don't know. I mean, holy shit, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm just hoping that I can maintain and kind of keep things moving along. I mean, a friend of mine asked a question the Renaissance Festival is selling tickets that they will honor for next year if this year we don't open, both season passes and tickets. And a friend was like, are they selling non-refundable tickets? And so technically they are non-refundable, but they will be honored next year. He said that we could potentially still be in a situation next year where we're not having festivals and outdoor activities. And I really I fully believe that won't be the case. I think that there will still be a lot of precautions being taken by people when they go out, when they leave the house, when they do. There's still going to be a lot of people wearing masks. It's going to be a lot like in Japan, where people just, if they feel like they want to wear a mask, they wear a mask. But I don't think at this time next year we'll still be hunkered down in our homes, at least that is my dear fervent hope.
Yeah, that's really my hope as well, that we're not still hunkered down.
We as a culture and we as a country wouldn't survive it. I mean, the economy is already taking this monstrous hit because of this, and they're already saying that without the pandemic relief and stuff that a lot of people are getting, that people are going to rapidly fall into serious debt and start going hungry, and we can't have that. So, I mean, I've been one of the lucky ones. I've been able to save, and I don't have some of the bills that other people have. So, it's a big concern. It's a big concern. But we should probably move on from the darkness here.
Yeah, we'll get on. We'll move on to what are you drinking?
Well, it was very nice of your lovely wife to drop something off for me from the tap room. So I got this is Prickly Pear Golfers. Prickly Pear Golfers. So it's looks like a new kind of blend from the Kill All the Golfers cider mead with prickly pear in it, and then also it has a simple syrup in it from the tap room. That's a mint. It's got a mint, and this, I gotta tell you, it's fucking delicious. No, it's really great. That mint, it's like a spearmint, and it adds like this lovely kind of minty sweetness. I mean, the prickly pear, this already starts off kind of like a sweeter mead, and it's a 6.5. That little pinkish color to it. But I tell you that the spearmint really sets off the flavor wonderfully. So thank you, Renee, again for for this and for this little gift here. She stopped off the house and it was really great.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really nice. So, guys, if you want to check this out, this is in the tap room at B Nectar Meadery in Ferndale.
Yeah,
What are you drinking?
unfortunately, CD, no, those can't be shipped.
No, unfortunately. Sorry, CD.
Well, I am also drinking something from B Nectar, something that Renee brought home for me. It is it's another crowler.
Yeah.
Blueberry lemons herb cider is what this one's called.
Okay.
It is a cool, like, purplish pink color.
Yeah, I think mine's kind of similar color to yours.
It has an interesting aroma because you get there's not really fruity aroma. It's more of like you get the herb, whatever that is that's in there. I'm gonna take another drink here. It is really fucking good.
Yeah. What is it again? What did you say?
It is blueberry lemon herb cider.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, that sounds delightful.
You get the blueberry, but whereas the blueberry can be can be a little over tart.
Yeah.
Whatever the herb is, I think, and the lemon a little bit, because it's mostly blueberry with a little bit of lemon, but then you get that little herb flavor at the end. That it's not really bitter. It's not like a hop, but it's actually really good. It smooths everything out. This is absolutely fantastic, and I will definitely drink this again. This is really good.
Good, yeah. I mean, that's the thing, what's one of those flavor combinations you wouldn't necessarily think of, but blueberry and lemon go together very well.
Well, yeah, and then there's that hint of the other thing that I don't even know what it is, just the herb, whatever that is.
Right.
It really blends in there well. It's really, really, really good. Yeah, I'll give this. This is probably like 4.5 bottle caps. This is really good.
Awesome. Very, very cool. Okay, so both of these drinks, guys, are at the tap room at B Nectar. You can't buy them in stores at the moment. But I think it seems to me like the stuff that they put in the tap room are kind of like things that they're road testing for potential bottling and stuff. So
sometimes,
who knows? Yeah, sometimes. So who knows? If you like it enough, who knows? That maybe they'll put it in a bottle.
And that's the thing. Sometimes it's experimental stuff that they're testing, or it's some idea that somebody gave Renee, and she's like, I can do that.
Exactly. Well, like the like they said, the strawberry mead is going to be bottled.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
And that was one that they did small batch and figured out the right way to do it, and that's what they'll be doing.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyways, moving on. So I was talking about things we take for granted and things we're going to miss. Like I said, if the Renaissance Festival doesn't open, which it's more and more looking likely that it won't. It's another one of those. It's another one of those things that like I said, you gotta take, enjoy the things and don't take them for granted. Every year we've been camping out at a KOA, and it's what we call our tent city for the Renaissance Festival. A lot of us, the security team, and a lot of the vendors and stuff like that. And I used to help organize it. And that's something else that we won't be having because the KOA is not allowing tent camping at the moment. And so I was just like real bummed. And I saw another friend posted some videos in character about how they were kind of letting people know that they wouldn't be at the festival this year. And just seeing the kind of the disappointment and about how they're going to miss everybody and miss everything. It's one of those things that's really kind of, it's kind of getting to me a little bit. I'm really going to be missing a lot of this stuff.
But I thought we weren't going to talk about the dark stuff anymore.
I know. I'm just kind of. I'm in a dark place, man.
Well, one of the first things we can talk about, if you want to start in a dark place, we can start talking about New Mutants.
Yeah, we can. Holy shit. Okay, so I posted a lot of links, like I talked about earlier. I posted a lot of links about to the various panels, quote unquote panels, that they had. One of the first things that I talked about was the New Mutants panel, and it was really, really cool. They gave a lot of they talked to all the actors and the director, and they even brought in for the first minute or couple of minutes, Bill Sienkiewicz, who was the artist that kind of defined the New Mutants at the beginning, near the beginning of the comic book, not the very beginning. And he was in the 80s. He was kind of like he was a very distinctive artist, very different, had a very different painterly style. And the comic that, or the story that this movie is based on, is largely based on a series that, a storyline that he did in the comics. So they actually
they said it was like, I was reading about it because I'd never really followed the New Mutants.
The Demon Bear story.
Yeah, the Demon Bear story, which is, I guess, the first 25 issues of the New Mutants, from what they were saying.
Give or take, yeah. I mean, it's yes, give or take, the first 2 years or so, because it really fully established the characters. And New Mutants was one of the first kind of comics that I collected regularly when I was when I started collecting when I was a 12-year-old and I could get to a shop on my own. And so it has a lot of kind of, those characters are kind of precious to me. Magic and Cannonball and Sunspot and Rain, Moonstar and Shen and whatnot, Karma, Warlock and Cypher. There's some really, really great, fun characters there at the beginning of the New Mutants. So I'm excited. I don't believe they ever did still officially in the pod, or in that panel, did they ever give an actual date of when the New Mutants movie is going to be released?
No, they did not. They just kept saying, well, hopefully you'll get to see it soon.
They did make a joke at the beginning where they showed the trailer and then they showed like the release date and then they crossed it out. And then they showed another release date and they crossed it out,
And another release date and crossed it out. And another release date and crossed it out. I think it was 4 release dates.
Yeah.
4 or 5 before they
Yeah, there's been originally the most recent release date was April 3rd, 2020, and that's still, if you Google it, that's still what comes up. It says, okay, hang on, here's an article that states it is still inexplicably scheduled for a theatrical release and for August 28th. Even as Tenet and Mulan face indefinite delays. So it's still on track to hit theaters on August 28th.
Yeah, we'll see if there are theaters by then.
I would say it would probably be wiser just to put it on VOD.
At this point, probably.
Just put it up on VOD, let the public see it, and then release it on DVD, and, yeah. So... filming finished in September of 17, but by January of 18, Fox had delayed the film's release to February of 19. Fox reportedly didn't want Deadpool 2 and New Mutants to compete with one another in May. A few months later, the New Mutants was delayed again. Finally, the New Mutants was slated to be released on April 3rd of 2020, but due to the pandemic, it was pushed back one more time to August 28th. So we will see. Now, if theaters don't open, New Mutants could be delayed further. Who knows? Everything is up in the air, but hey, at least there's a new trailer. Yeah, so we'll see. Hopefully sooner rather than later, because I think it looks like they've done a pretty solid job.
I'll tell you what, the first 5 minutes of that panel I couldn't stand, because it was a bunch of just ad stuff for it, and do this hashtag and do this, this at and all this, and I'm like, fuck that. I don't need that right now. Just give me the panel, talk to the people, and get it done. Once they got into that, it was a really fun panel.
Yeah.
And seeing people like, Blue, the one that's playing, is it,
Magic?
No, not Magic. That's Anya something. Anyway.
Karma, Rain. Or not Karma. Moonstar, Rain.
I think it's
Moonstar.
It's Moonstar.
Okay.
The woman who's playing her, she was talking about having to read against or with Maisie Williams.
Yeah.
And that was actually really funny. She's like, I gotta read with Maisie frickin' Williams?
Right, yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, Maisie Williams she basically shot this when she was on hiatus from from Game of Thrones,
Mhm.
and she actually, although Maisie Williams kind of looks perennial the same age, I mean, they shot this in like 16 they shot it in 16. They said they were done in 17. So this was 4 years ago that they were shooting the film, and Maisie Williams is pretty young. So she was, I mean, you can see substantially that she looks quite a bit younger in the film than she does now. And, but yeah, it had been a pretty big deal. Yeah, it looks like, hey, you know what? Here's a little break in here. It looks like I'm going to share this on the Nerds page, but Renee just shared something from Bee Nectar about Totally Strawberry, about their strawberry mead. So that's going to be pretty cool.
Cool.
But anyway, yeah.
But they were talking about that, and Maisie Williams even talked about the fact that it was so nice to play a different character,
Right.
for her, because Rain is so different.
Very much different
than Anya. He said, with Anya, I had to come in and just command the room all the time. Or Arya.
And the interesting thing is, as Arya, she did.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is too, with Rain is a very, very different character. I mean, the character of Rain, particularly at that time, was a timid, shrinking violet of a character. She was raised by a fire and brimstone preacher, and who saw her mutation as the devil, and as a curse from the devil. So, I mean, she turned into a wolf. So it was, and this was even before she had developed her half wolf, half human form. She didn't. That transitional form came a little bit later, when she had greater control over her power, and so she was very scared and saw herself as cursed and as cursed by God and everything. And thankfully, the character grew and changed and became a strong, very strong character over the years. But it was really interesting to see Maisie Williams play a character so strikingly different from Arya, who had become, a powerhouse, basically, And somebody that is it actually, Arya saved the fucking day.
Oh yeah,
she's the hero of the fucking story. I mean, she's one of the big heroes of the story.
Yep.
And for sure. So hopefully, I think Magic looks great. I think she's going to be really fucking cool.
She said she was also mentioning how cool it was to do that, to have that whole effect with the arm and stuff. She's like, you feel so badass when you do that.
The sword and everything. And Magic has always been one of those fan favorite characters.
And the young woman that they got to play her looks so much like Ilyana from the comics.
Yeah,
she's got those. It's funny. She's got those giant anime eyes too.
Right. Yeah, and the long blonde hair.
Yeah.
Kind of the bangs. And it's funny, actually. Stella just we were at the store, and she a DVD of the movie Emma came out, which is an old classic kind of story.
But she's in.
She's in. Yeah, she's the main character. And I went, holy shit, this is the girl. I'm looking at the DVDs. I think this is the girl that's playing Magic, and it is. It's pretty cool. So we haven't watched the movie yet, but it's not really my jam so much, but it's Stella's, and I'm willing to give it a shot.
Yeah.
So let's move on before we delve too much further into this. What was the next thing you wanted to
well, one of the other ones. Well, we can talk about the Jim Butcher interview real quick.
Okay.
Because Jim Butcher's got two books coming out this year. They actually interviewed him a month ago about.
Right. Yes. Before the book actually came out.
Right. And it was a fun interview. It really was. He was laying in bed with his dog. I think that's one of the things. Every interview I've seen him give, every tweet I've seen him send out, where he's in the picture, he is laying down in his bed or on his couch. I don't know that he can stand anymore.
Very, very comfortable. Very, very comfortable guy.
Yes.
He's a relaxed dude. I've been to talk about the book a little bit. I haven't read the book. Have you read the book yet?
No, I'm actually rereading Skin Game.
Okay.
To kind of refamiliarize myself with what was going on. I mean, I remember most of it, but
I have not read the book. I wanted to maybe possibly reread Skin Game or something, because it has been so long since I read it. And I did want to kind of read Briefcases too.
Which I've heard is also a good one to read before that.
Right. Now, the
Or
thing about it is...
small jobs, actually, they said. I think
Side jobs.
Side jobs, yeah.
I've read Side Jobs. Briefcases is the newer one. So, unfortunately, like I looked up some of the reviews on Amazon, and um, he's not getting the best of reviews on this book. At the very least, the best kind of things that people are saying. I mean, some people were like, "Hey, it's fun," and I liked how Jim Butcher refers to his own books as, "Guys, these are just supposed to be fun books. They're not.
They're popcorn books.
They're popcorn books, right?" He's writing Jim Butcher, and they're just supposed to be fun. They're not, Um, I mean, yes, they can still be serious and they can still be dramatic, but they're not, they're not Catcher in the Rye. This is it's the equivalent of a summer tentpole film,
Mm-hmm.
An adventurous romp, and a lot of the reviews,
fan base though,
right, and a lot of the reviews I was reading. I mean, some were like, "Hey, it was fun. It was great to be back, and this was fun, and I'm really looking forward to seeing for what the next book brings." Some of the biggest points that were made about this new book, Peace Talks, is that it's one half of a book.
Really?
Because it apparently ends on a cliffhanger, and which he's kind of left us with a few cliffhangers in the past, but this one in particular changes particularly, and I mean, changes was, yeah, for sure. So a lot of people are recommending don't read Peace Talks yet. Wait until Battlegrounds comes out. Read them together, because it really does read a lot more like it's just the first half. It's a lot of setup. And so a lot of the readers, a lot of the critics were like, this is, there's a lot of fluff. There's a lot of, he revisits a lot of characters. Like a lot of characters like Sonya makes an appearance, and Michael Carpenter makes an appearance.
Don't give shit away.
No, it's not. I'm not. It's just like you see different characters that he visits or he has some kind of interaction with that he hasn't had an interaction with for a long time. So it's kind of like, so some of these people were like, I'm just kind of like, there's a lot of like just setup. So I haven't read the book, but from what people were saying, very spoiler free kind of thing. It's just, read the two books together, back to back, as opposed to reading one now and then waiting until September to read the next one. I'm going to break in on something here. I just saw kind of a quick news flash. I was just talking about the Renaissance Festival. Breaking news. The Michigan Renaissance Festival has pushed back their opening day to Labor Day weekend.
Okay.
So
normally third weekend?
Normally it's the third weekend that's normally their third weekend. So this per Maria Christian from the entertainment director as of 20 minutes ago. The 2020 season has been pushed back to Labor Day weekend. No further comments have been made as yet. So, just so you guys know.
Okay.
So yeah, I enjoyed the interview with Jim. He was you could tell that the girl who was interviewing him was not only a huge fan, but either knew him or has interviewed him in the past.
Yes.
She had this, and she also must have gotten the book ahead of time, because she obviously had read Peace Talks.
Well, and there were questions. She's like, I can't ask you that. I can't ask you that.
You're right. Exactly. So, but
I liked the one question she asked though, when she said, "I've heard this. You ask this a lot in interviews, and you always answer the same way. So I'm going to challenge you to answer it differently." And that was, what character that you've written in the Dresden series has exceeded your expectations as far as the fans and what they've done and what they've grown into? And she said, other than Butters, because that's always your answer.
Yeah, for sure.
And because Butters originally was just supposed to be, he wasn't really a throwaway character, but he wasn't supposed to be what he is now. And Jim was thinking about it. He's like, huh. And he's like, and he came back saying Marcone. He gave two. He gave Marcone and he gave
Marcone.
and Toot Toot.
Yeah, and Toot Toot.
Those two. Toot Toot was just supposed to be a little informant.
Yeah.
You need information, you call him. And he grew and he became a fan favorite, and he grew into something more. And he said Marcone, it just surprised the hell out of him how much people actually liked Marcone.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite side characters. I mean, I like almost everybody.
See, I don't like Marcone that much.
I think he's a lovable bastard. I think he's one of those guys that you're like, you love to hate him kind of thing. And he's like, you can kind of understand. He's the devil, and he's necessary. So I really kind of dig him. I like some of the things that he's doing. So, so anyway, yes, the Jim Butcher interview was cool.
If you're a fan, I'd say watch it.
If you're a fan, yeah, definitely if you're a fan.
He did do something I saw him do 10 years ago, which was, she asked him a question, and he's like, I'm not going to tell you.
I liked how he kind of some of the questions kind of definitely made him think, kind of threw him for a loop, because there were a few times he was just like, God, I don't know,
Yeah.
just.
Well, and then so she asked him how all the different gods get along with each other.
Yeah, the mythology and stuff.
Yeah, and he's like, well, and I liked his explanation. He's like, it's something we can't comprehend as humans because we live in linear time and can only think in linear time.
Yeah.
He goes, they don't have that problem. And he goes, and all of them have a different memory of how everything got started.
Sure.
He said it's kind of like that party where you got really drunk and you don't remember a lot until someone mentions something. You go, oh yeah, I kind of remember that. Yeah.
That's a really good analogy, honestly. I mean, wrapping up, theological kind of theory with, the analogy of a drunken, frat party. I like that. That was pretty funny. But it's funny, that interview is one of those things where how it goes to show that sometimes the fan base can overanalyze something or analyze something to the point where beyond even what the creators can think of. How often I'd be interested to know how often some really smart question was asked to the creator of George Lucas or Roddenberry, exactly. I was just going to say Roddenberry, or J.K. Rowling, or any of these people that have created this ongoing kind of universe, Jim Butcher, and had somebody go ahead and had this really thoughtful, really kind of insightful fucking question, and then they just kind of go, God, I never thought of that. How could anybody, what? Whoa, geez. Because we're so passionate. We love these things so much that we want to talk more about it. I mean, it's the same thing about when you see people write, fan fiction. Yep. That's really, really good. I mean, there's some fan fiction out there that's really solid. And for all kinds of different things. Stella has written some pretty solid Harry Potter fan fiction. And, and it goes to show it's because she really, really just loves the subject matter. So.
Well, the woman that was interviewing him asked him one question, and he went, I hadn't thought of that before. It's like, I'm going to have to consider that now. And he was actually thinking about something that he hadn't thought about doing in the books. Yeah,
exactly. Some really cool stuff. I'm really, really enjoying. I really enjoyed it. I've been enjoying the various different things that I was seeing coming out of this Comic-Con at home.
Yep. So move on because there's a lot still I want to get to. Another one that I watched was the Stumptown one, and that was actually really enjoyable.
So Stumptown is a show we've talked about on the show a number of times. It stars Colby Smulders as a budding private detective in Portland. Is it Portland?
Yes.
Yeah.
Former Marine. Portland.
She's a former Marine. Well, you're never a former Marine. You're just an off-duty Marine. She's a Marine, she's got a lot of PTSD that she's dealing with. She's got not only
Time in
PTSD,
Afghanistan, I think it was.
yeah, in Afghanistan, not only PTSD from being in Afghanistan, but she's also had a really fucked up like life. Like she's got a special needs Down syndrome little brother that she takes care of. Ansel. Her parents kind of up and split and left him
like
and her
15, yeah.
No, I think it was more like maybe when she first got back or something.
Well, I think it was. Yeah, well, I think it was like. It might have been because I think they said it's like 12 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was when she first got back from service, and her parents just pretty much dumped her kid brother at the time in her lap and split. And in fact, the season ends on a note where she opens the door and she's like, "Oh hi, Mom," and she hasn't seen her mom in like a decade. So, so anyway, there was the showrunners and writers and producers, and then Colby Smulders, and then two of the other main actors, male leads in the show. It was actually largely the producers and writers, and only a couple of the actors.
And the creator of the graphic novel.
And the creator of the graphic novel, Greg Rucka. That's right. Which is really cool. I thought that's been really cool to include the original creator of the graphic novel. And the show is really great. We've talked about it a number of times. It's got a really great kind of just like energy. And Colby is of course a fantastic show lead. And I'll watch anything Colby Smulders. I adore her. Not just because she's hot, but also in like this like really capable, strong woman kind of way. You know what I mean? I find her to be an attractive woman, but at the same time, I'm like attracted to the fact that she's also like this kind of just like comes across as this really like, I mean, she's smart. She's like smart and capable too, and it's just really, I think she's a really cool person. And I like the fact that she's grown beyond just being like a funny girl on How I Met Your Mother,
Yeah. Which CD just posted saying that he doesn't like her. Not sure why. Maybe he associates her with the crappy How I Met Your Mother ending. And I said,
sure.
That was a great show with a really crappy ending.
That's just so funny. There's so many. Why is it that you got these great shows that end in such a poor fashion? It's like the writers just didn't know how to end their creation. They're like, this wonderful show that I've been making for years, and now I have to end it, so I'm going to end it badly. Look at what happened with like Seinfeld, and look what happened with Dexter, and
which I haven't seen How I Met Your Mother yet.
Dexter was such a cool show, and a lot of people feel like it went from season to season, like some seasons were better than others, which is sometimes the case, but that it ended just did not end well, and I would say overall probably is true. It wasn't the best ending, I'd say. Lost is another example. And Battlestar Galactica, the new Battlestar Galactica.
was great up until like the last half of the last episode.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just confusing. Sometimes they're just downright confusing. And so yeah, not great.
But anyway, the show was the interview was interesting. I think it was funny. At one point, I believe one of Colby Smulders' kids came into the room because you see her sit there and she kind of looks off camera and she's like,
I must have missed that. Yeah,
it's close to the beginning, and I just saw her. I saw her do like this and then like do a little wave and then go back to looking at the camera and.
I didn't know she had. I didn't even know that she had any kids.
She's got two.
Does she? Oh,
yeah.
Okay, great. But anyway, I think it's just a great show, guys. If you are not checking it out, you should check out season 2. Really good show. I think we should move on to. We got some Star Trek stuff to talk about. There was the big one that I posted was about Star Trek, and
I didn't watch that panel.
One of the things about these panels is like some of the people that were hosting the panels were not the best. I mean, some of them you could tell were like maybe they were reporters or writers, or maybe they were fans or something like that. But not all of them were really good were good hosts. You know,
Mhm.
they were okay with asking questions and stuff, but some of them came off a little awkward, and I think we experienced that a little bit with one of the Star Trek ones. The Star Trek one had 3 sections. One was about Discovery, one was about Lower Decks, which starts next week, and the other one was about was with Picard, and I enjoyed it a great deal, particularly the Picard one, because you had uh, counselor, you had Deanna Troy basically taking the piss out of Picard the whole time. It was hilarious. Yeah. What's her name? Deanna
uh,
Troy. What?
yeah, I'm blanking on her name now. Shit.
Help us out, CD.
The
I'm gonna look it up, and it's gonna come to me as I am typing it.
Yeah, Marina Sirtis.
Marina Sirtis. Yeah, the whole time because people keep praising Picard and praising him and praising Patrick Stewart. They were calling him SPS, Sir Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
And then he was like, it was a certain name was coined for me. It was Sir Pat Stew. I like Pat Stew. And they're like, oh yeah, Pat Stew. That's an even better one. Yeah, that's an even better one. And but they're praising him about how wonderful he is and how incredible of an actor and how supportive and how wonderful. And then Marina Sirtis was like, stop doing that. It took us forever to train him. His ego is he's not going to be able to fit through the door, things like that. It was so funny. She constantly taking the piss out of him. But it was her and, pretty much the entire cast of Picard was on the show, was on the talk and stuff. So if you don't want to sit through this stuff for Lower Decks or don't want to sit through Discovery, I do highly recommend at least sitting through the 20 minutes to half an hour of the interview with the Picard cast, because it was really, really fun. They talked about particularly Brent Spiner too. He's hilarious. But about their experiences, about joining the show and whether they're going to do it or not. Marina Sirtis, of course, made the comments about how she was so glad she didn't have to wear the bodysuit again. Some really, really great stuff. And about how they're currently writing the second season, and they're looking like it's going to be pretty great. Thanks again, Renee, for this mead. This is really, really fantastic. The mint really sets it off. I know she's listening. So, what else? Okay. So Lower Deck starts next week.
Yep.
There are some people I've seen a few of my friends kind of go, oh, I don't know, but it looks really funny. I'm gonna watch it too. It's interesting that the guy that's playing number one on the show. Apparently, the show. One of the cool things I didn't know about this is the Cerritos, the ship that they're on, is specifically for making second contact. So basically, they're the crew that goes in once you've made first contact. They go back. They go in. They make sure that all the paperwork is signed, and then okay, we're gonna make sure that everything's set up, and we're gonna cross the I's and dot the T's, and that kind of thing. And so I'm like, okay, this should be pretty fucking funny. And Dawn, I think Dawn Lewis, she's a fairly well-known African-American actress. She's been in a lot of stuff. She plays the captain. A lot of the actors on this show are actors you've seen in a lot of different things. The guy playing number one is here, let me just bring it up. Hang on, Decks, Lower Decks. Yeah, there it is, right there. Star Trek Lower Decks. So yeah, pretty much all the actors, the majority of them are all people that you've seen in a lot of different things. Let me see. Jerry O'Connell. Jerry O'Connell plays the first officer. Jerry O'Connell. His wife is Rebecca Romaine.
Yeah.
Who's playing number one on the new Star Trek show that's coming up, Strange New Worlds, which features Captain Pike.
Right.
So there's two number ones, two first officers in the same household, and so that's pretty cool. Yeah, Dawn Lewis plays Captain Freeman. Now the interesting thing is it looks like a lot of those she was on a different world. She was in Dreamgirls. She was anyway. You'd see her in Veronica Mars. A lot of different things. A lot of actors you'd see in various other things. Gillian Vigman plays Dr. Tana, who is this. She's the chief medical officer, and she's like a cat person. One of those races that was seen in the original Star Trek cartoon. And she apparently is like this kind of gruff old alley cat. That's how they play her. But this actress is another actress that you've seen in a lot of commercials, and you've seen on various different like TV shows and stuff like that. So she's done a lot of voiceover work. But the interesting thing is the bridge crew. It shows on IMDb the bridge crew is pretty much only in the first episode. So we probably are not going to see a whole lot of the bridge crew. And there's 10 episodes. Jack Quaid plays Ensign Boimler, and he's the guy that plays Little Huey in The Boys.
Okay.
So he's the guy that plays Huey in The Boys. Let's see, Tawny Newsome, Ensign Mariner. She was on Space Force. She was one of the main characters on Space Force. So, like I said, pretty much all character actors and whatnot that you've seen in many other different things. No, actually, I might be mistaken. It says 22 episodes, but it's only saying 10 episodes. So maybe they've made 22 episodes and they're only releasing the initial 10 as the first season.
Maybe.
So interesting. Okay. Anyway, Lower Decks, starting the 6th on the CBS app, CBS All Access. I think it looks great. I think it's going to be a fucking blast and a lot of fun.
I agree. I think it is too.
Yeah. So anyway, also we did get they released this news after the convention. We did get a release date on Star Trek Discovery, October 15th. So October 15th, we will have Star Trek Discovery Season 3, and they're very excited, and that's going to be awesome. So speaking of The Boys, I did also get I did post the Boys panel, which was amazing. Really, really fun, really fantastic. The Boys, they just are going to be showing, like, Season 2 should be starting soon.
Just as a quick side note, looking at IMDb, they have 10 episodes listed for Season 1 and 12 episodes listed for Season 2 already.
Oh, okay, great. Great. All right, cool. So maybe that's why the bridge crew is still like, they're like, oh yeah, we're in the show, because maybe they are in more episodes and stuff. So what is it? Yeah, their app sucks. You're right, their app sucks. So what was I saying? The Boys. The Boys Season 2 should be coming out any day now, and the panel with them was really great. It was the entire cast, and the writers, and they showed some really, really great clips, some really, really fun stuff. There was a hilarious thing with the underwater character, Deep Six or something like that. I can't remember his name right now, but they had some really, really great interviews and really great stuff and how they're all very excited to keep going. And during the panel, they announced that they had been already okayed for Season 3. Season 2, Season 1 hadn't even come out, and they had okayed it for Season 2. Season 2 hasn't even come out, and they've been okayed for Season 3. So The Boys, guys, it's holy shit irreverent. It's amazing. If you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend it. But at the same time, do remember that just because it's a superhero show does not mean it is for kids.
No.
This is a show that is exclusively adult.
They are very much assholes, and it's very violent, very gory.
Yes. If it had been rated, it would be rated R, hard R for the gore alone, let alone some of the sexual activity and stuff. So, but holy shit, it is funny and really great, and a really great, a really great translation from the comic book to television too.
That's what I've heard. I've never read the book, but
the comic is genius, man. It's great. I've got all the graphic novels over there, all 12 of them on my shelf there, and it is really, really awesome, really fun, dark at times, and also really, really hilarious too, like ridiculously dark. And it's a commentary not only on culture and our society, but it's a commentary on comic books and about the mythology we've created as in comic books and stuff. So.
But yeah, it's definitely much more. It's much closer to what it would really be in real life.
Yes, quite very much so. The thing is, it isn't anything that hasn't already been dealt with before, by both Marvel, DC, and in other comic books. They just take it that extra step further. The idea that if you had a superhero, if you had superheroes, people with super abilities, superpowers, they would probably be celebrities. They would not be. They'd either be a celebrity, or they would be some hidden secret agent superpower thing controlled by the government. And whereas in the show they're kind of both. In the boys they're both. And
they're controlled by corporate.
But still also the government has some say. And it's like, yeah, if anything, the superheroes give the corporation even more fucking juice and more power to kind of tell the government to fuck off and do what they want. So, God damn, it's a solid show, and it's really, really cool. So check out The Boys, man. It is well worth the checkout. Yeah.
Another one of the panels that Renee and I watched that I thought was absolutely fantastic was the What We Did in the Shadows panel.
Oh my God. That was so great.
What's his name? The guy that plays Nandor just kept cutting out and just dropping.
He did. He kept cutting out. I think he had. Was having really bad, internet issues or something.
But he'd come on and you'd see him going.
Yeah, I think he was fucking with it. Personally, I think he was doing it.
And then boom, he'd drop again.
Yeah. We've talked about it a number of times. What We Do in the Shadows. Conceivably one of the best, or not conceivably, just one of the best shows on television, rated one of the best shows on television, one of the funniest comedies, and the panel was no joke, just as goddamn funny. They talked about Nadia talked about that's not her real name, but the actress who just Natasha talked about. They asked her about she had to act against herself with a doll, with the puppet, and she goes, "Well, it's just I've been waiting years to work with somebody as good as I am, And
I finally got the chance.
And so much fun. They talked about it was not the most comfortable of shooting. They were shooting in Toronto in the winter.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they'd have to shoot outside, and so there was, one of the guys was talking about, and actually. Haley Joel Osment, who was on the show for an episode. Topher! He was the moderator. And I really liked how they got moderators to, when they get famous people to be the moderators.
Yeah.
They did the moderator for it was, of course, Haley Joel. And he talked about how he loved how the snow on the ground was not snow that somebody just sprayed on in the back lot of a studio. It was real snow that fell from the sky. And they also talked about how awesome the set is.
Yes.
He talked about how he'd never seen so many candles on a set before, Well, and how Natasha set herself on fire,
And she also said she just wants to take that set on tour. She wants to just pick it up and take it everywhere.
nightmare, right? Um,
But one of my things they were
Really
talking about
fun.
the Mark Hamill episode, and the guy that plays Laszlo, um, was like, he's like, at one point, when they're fighting, Mark Hamill's character picks up a pool stick and turns around, and he's holding it, and he's like, I became a 7-year-old kid facing off against Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, exactly. That was not, because there is a lot of improv done in the show, like a ton of improv done in the show. So they were like, "Is that planned? Was that all planned?" He goes, "Not really. We just we held it, and then, it just kind of happened." And the fact that they talked about Mark Hamill's character, and is like, I mean, did you guys plan that and everything? I can't remember everything that they had said, but it was just, like I said, it's some really, really fun stuff, some really cool, great moments and hilarious moments and whatnot. So,
we're dropping some packets right now. I'm watching the stream kind of go red and yellow.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So,
I don't know what that means exactly, but I assume it's bad.
Yeah, we're back to green now. I'm gonna have to talk to my cable company about my my service, because I shouldn't be dropping 1.5% of pings or of frames. So, but so definitely worth watching it. CD, I agree. The movie was fantastic.
What We Do in the Shadows?
Yes.
What I would say, honestly, the TV show is better than the movie.
Yes, but I think the movie was fantastic too. And
the movie was great. The movie was absolutely great.
And if you get the chance, I would say watch the movie before you finish season 1.
Yes, sure.
Because the Vampire Council episode will make a lot more sense, and you'll get it. It'll be a better joke.
Oh yeah, no, I absolutely think the movie was great. I just think that the cast of the show, and the show, the people that made the movie are involved in the show too. They're like executive producers. So Taika and some of the other guys, but I still think that, I don't know, maybe they've just, because we've got more time with the show, that maybe they've been able to develop the rapport and develop the characters a little bit more and stuff. So it's one of those few times I think where a show version of a movie is like an improvement on the not that it's bad, it's just like it's an improvement. They took what they started and just ran with it and improved on it.
So CD, no, there is not any of the same characters in the main part of the show.
No, it's a completely different cast, but and I mean the original movie
same
takes
world
place,
though.
Yeah, same world. The movie takes place in New Zealand. It's 3 vampires living in a medium-sized town in New Zealand. And this one is 3 vampires living in Staten Island.
Yeah, in a mansion on Staten Island.
Yeah, a mansion. And they actually, like I said, it's filmed in Toronto. So 3 vampires and their familiar, their human familiar. And it's really, really fucking funny.
It's really funny. Bat! Hearing that the bats are almost always just rubber bats on strings.
Yeah. It's great. And somebody had said, well, it's better than a tennis ball. And it's true. And Sally looked at me and she goes, why a tennis ball? I go, because tennis balls are the same green color for green screen. So they can, that's actually easily, like, and she goes, oh, okay, cool. And the show does have probably a bigger budget than the original film did. The film was a very small budget. So speaking of panels that are hosted by celebrities,
I was going to get to one of those too.
The next thing I wanted to talk about is, of course, Bill and Ted Face the Music.
That's the one I was going to talk about. Yep.
The panel host for Bill and Ted Face the Music was Kevin Smith, and Kevin Smith was really great, and he had watched the movie. They'd given him a copy to watch before. An advanced copy. Now the movie premieres on VOD on September 1st, so it's right around the corner. I looked it up. I'm looking
forward to it.
Yeah, so am I. I'm really looking forward to it. It meant a lot to him. One of the things that Kevin says is that the movie is, and he goes, this is the highest compliment I could pay it, is that it is an adorable movie. in that
Yeah.
it is a movie that should be adored.
Yes, he was.
And I
He
went-
was gushing.
Was gushing about it, and I mean, and he talked about it. Goes when apparently when he was doing press for movies like for his movies like Clerks and Mallrats and stuff, is that the characters of Jay and Silent Bob exist because of great comedy duos like Cheech and Chong and Bill and Ted and
Yep.
and other comedy duos of that type. He said he really felt that Bill and Ted or Jay and Silent Bob may not have really existed if they hadn't been for Bill and Ted. And the funny thing is, Bill and Ted really was not made that much sooner than before
No,
Clerks.
it was like 88 or 89, I think.
80. I think it came out. The original Bill and Ted came out in '89. I believe it was filmed in '88, and I think it was '89. I remember because it was filmed in Phoenix, and I was going to high school in Phoenix in '89, and
89 and 91 were the two films.
Right. I was going to. It was filmed in Phoenix, and some of the people, like my drama teacher, was like, yeah, I was happy to be on the set there when they were filming the water park that they filmed at. I've been to, and stuff like that. So
The water slide.
The water slide, and but yeah, they go to or apparently it brought him to tears at the end, and so one of the cool things is in the film Samara Weaving plays. I think Bill's daughter, and the funny thing is, she talked about being on set with Keanu Reeves. She goes, "That's the guy that killed my uncle."
Yeah.
Because her uncle is Hugo Weaving, who was Mr. Smith in the Matrix films.
And Kevin Smith asked it. He's like, "Did you ever, walk up to him and go, Mr. Anderson?"
Anderson, yeah, because that was the thing. She brought that up.
No.
She brought that up and blew Kevin Smith's mind. He had completely forgotten. He's like, "Oh my God!" And stuff. So that was really, really great. And once again, just like I was talking about Constantine, I was talking about how. Did I talk about that about Constantine?
We were talking about that earlier.
We were talking about it earlier. So I'll bring that up in a second. And it was funny too. Keanu Reeves was the last person they introduced. Like he was like, "Whoa, Keanu Reeves," But of course, arguably he's the biggest star in the film, and not arguably he's the biggest star in the film. And
he also seems very humble, which is everything I've heard about him is that.
That's what I was saying. I mean, some of the couple interviews that I've watched just goes to show that he is this really, really amazing person. And so he's. He was the first person to go and praise other people that worked on the film. All of the crew, and how wonderful the crew was, and how much fun and how great it was to come back and do this character. And it was really funny. They were talking about how the girl that plays his daughter, talking about how watching him go from playing John Wick, a very different role, to
playing Ted.
Ted,
And Kevin Smith going, "Oh, I didn't even think of that. You guys have it the opposite, because we saw him go from Ted to John Wick."
John Wick, right? So, it's really, really cool. And honestly, I think this is gonna I think they're gonna knock it out of the park. I just when I saw this, I go, I don't think I own Bill and Ted in my collection. And I actually looked up on Amazon, and there's a Blu-ray, 2-movie, combined anniversary edition. I think I'm gonna buy, and
I don't own any of those. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, because they really are one of those movies. And Kevin Smith also talked about the fact that Bill and Ted was not a movie. I mean, there wasn't any F-bombs. It was both of the movies.
PG movie.
It was a PG-13. They were PG-13,
yeah.
but they the most it came down to was a little bit of sexual innuendo about 69 and.
Remember when your mom went to prom when we were at prom with your mom?
When the dad gives him some money and closes the door to his bedroom or whatever, and that was about it really. And they're very precious, kind of sweet movies that you can kind of watch with the whole family. So I imagine that this is going to be the same, and it looks like they just had a fucking blast making this fucking movie, and I'm really, really excited. And speaking of Keanu Reeves, I also posted about the Constantine 15th anniversary panel that they had, because Keanu Reeves was, of course, in the movie version of Constantine. Now, that movie got some criticism, a lot of criticism initially, because Keanu Reeves didn't look anything like what the way Constantine is. He's blonde, he's also British, and Keanu did quite the diverged quite a bit from the source material to play his version of Constantine. And even I was kind of upset about that. But if you watch the movie had a really dedicated fan base, and it had a very strong showing on DVD and in rental and DVD sales and stuff and afterwards. So, and although the movie did okay at the box office, it made its money back. It wasn't good, didn't do good enough that the studio greenlit a sequel, even though everybody was willing to do one. But the interview is with Akiva Goldman, the main producer, the director, who was a first-time director at the time, and Keanu Reeves, excuse me. And the cool thing, probably my favorite thing about it, I mean, and honestly, it makes me want to kind of rewatch the movie, because there were definitely, I think it's worth a rewatching, because there were some really great points in that film. But it goes to show, like, just how awesome Keanu Reeves is as a person. Because, like I said, again, every time somebody, the moderator tried to pay him a compliment, he just kind of sheepishly went, "Oh, geez, oh my gosh, and thank you. I just kind of do what I do." And then every chance he got, he praised somebody that was on the staff, on the crew of the film. He couldn't do that enough, and I thought that was really, really fucking awesome. That he is just this really, really fun guy, this really great guy, that just enjoys doing what he does, and he even talks about that. He goes, "I love doing what I do."
I've never heard anything but good things about Keanu Reeves, and that's from talking to people that actually know him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the guy's had a rough life. Apparently, like he's had some tragedy in his life, but he still does things like rides the bus and donates a lot of money to charity and takes care of his family and stuff like that. So, he's worth it. It's worth supporting his endeavors, I'd say.
Yep. I still haven't seen any of the John Wick movies. They're on my list, and I really need to see them, but they're not streaming anywhere, and I don't want to just go out and buy them without seeing them. So
come over to my house, sit on my socially distanced couch, and watch them with me. I have all three of them.
Dude, you know how long it's been since we've watched a movie together?
It wasn't too long. It was this last Star Wars film, I'd say.
Yeah.
I'd
It's
say
been a
that
long
was
time.
the last one.
It was a long time before that one.
Yeah. One of the other things I wanted, speaking of, Kevin Smith had hosted the Bill and Ted thing. So the interesting thing, a little tidbit I didn't realize, the guy that directed the Bill and Ted films also directed Galaxy Quest.
Yes. I
Did not know that.
Well, not the Bill and Ted films, but the latest one.
The latest one, yeah. But the thing is, they've gotten everybody back. It's the whole crew.
Yeah.
Everybody is back from the original movies. Kevin Smith also did every year at Comic-Con, he does his own, like, "Hey, I'm Kevin Smith, and I'm at Comic-Con," and he does his own thing. And so he did his own panel. It's just him. Yeah. It's an hour of him just talking to the audience. And the funny thing is just the other day I had watched on Amazon Prime one of his most recent stand-up, his own shows, right? Yeah. And the one was, it happened to be the one that he almost died directly after. Like, he had his heart attack. It was one he filmed, and then he had a heart attack right after they filmed it. And so it was pretty cool. It was him, and it was his show, and it's him talking and doing stories and whatever. And so I had watched that a couple of nights ago, and then I watched this one. The one that he did for Comic-Con is awesome because it is bleeped every time he drops an S-bomb or an F-bomb or something. They bleep it, and you don't realize how much he swears.
Well, it's just natural to him. It's
absolutely.
It's the way he talks. Right. It's the way I talk most of the time. It's
absolutely me too. I got to control myself about how much I swear. So, but yeah, it was. It was pretty funny, and like he does like a 10 things that are going on in his life and 10 points and things that he's talking about. Excuse me. It was pretty cool, honestly. If you guys want to know what the new things that are going on with Kevin Smith, one of the big things that he did talk about is they are working on the Mallrats sequel. At one point in the thing, he says, "Nah, we're not going to do that now." And then he said, at the end, he comes back in and says, "Guess what? We are going to do it because the Jay and Silent Bob reboot did well enough and was a big enough fan following kind of thing that apparently the studios that he's working with also want to do a Mallrats follow-up. So we're going to get more Kevin Smith. And I'd say if he keeps working on the road, on the moving forward on what he's doing with these kind of things, we could see some really great stuff out of him coming up. So some really fun stuff. Talked about some of his podcasts, about a podcast he's doing with his daughter that's all about veganism, about answering questions about being a vegan because his daughter is a vegan and he's a vegan now. And he talked about how his daughter's, after he had his heart attack, his daughter asked him to become a vegan, give it a try. And he lost a shit ton of weight, and he is a ton healthier. He cut out sugar, he cut out all these other things. And he goes, I used to be happy, and now I'm vegan. But he said, I gave life to this my daughter, and then she has saved my life. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. And it's really also awesome kind of to show how much he really just adores his kid. Like, he just absolutely...
Dude, he can't stop talking about her. And that's actually one of the things that I get sick of now is I don't want to hear about your kid anymore.
Well, yeah.
Like, he's doing everything he can to get her a career. And
she's developing her own career at this point. You know, I mean,
he gave her her career.
Oh, he did, absolutely. But, I mean, he gave her a pretty big head start, that's for sure. But she's doing things on her own. I mean, like, when she became a correspondent for DC, the DC Universe kind of thing, they offered that to her on her own. They didn't go to him first. They were, let's talk to Harley Quinn Smith, you know. So
it helps that her name's Harley Quinn.
Yes, it does, for sure. We did talk about as a side note, the DC Universe app. The DC Universe streaming app. They did. I found out last week that they are now canceling the ability to have like a year-long subscription, so you can't pay for a year at a time now, which bodes that.
Well.
With the news that it may not be existing for much longer.
Well, I was just reading that they're saying that everything that's on DC Universe, all the shows and movies, will be eventually on HBO Max. That is the plan going forward as far as Time Warner goes, and
that doesn't surprise me at all.
It doesn't either. It doesn't surprise me either. As soon as I heard that HBO Max was coming out after all the acquisitions and everything like that, I'm like, what does that mean for DC Universe? So they're saying it's probably going to be a little bit, but I'd guess since they're not letting you do a year-long subscription, that their plan is to do it in the next 6 months.
Well, see, I had also heard that one of the shows their next season is specifically going to be going to the DC Universe. So, so it could be, I would say, within the next 6 months to a year. Yes. My main concern is, unfortunately, like, what is going to happen with all of the comic books, with the digital comic books? Is that going to be a separate thing? Are you going to be able to pay, $1 a month or $2 a month or whatever for just that, because that was the thing that set them apart from the Marvel Universe kind of, service that you can have, is that you weren't just getting the comic book, you were getting all the shows and the movies as well. Now, if that's the case, I don't know. It's going to kind of suck.
I mean, Titan Season 3 was supposed to be out this fall. But they're saying now that it's probably delayed. So, depending on how long it's delayed, may be how long it is that DC Universe is still around. Because if that's going to be, I have a feeling that's going to be the last one on there. Because I think they're going to start moving everything else over. Doom Patrol's already on HBO Max.
Yeah, we knew that was going to happen. Also, I just posted, if you guys want to check it out, on the page, I posted a link to DC Showcase's Batman Death in the Family. It's the official trailer for the next animated film. Now, the next animated film they got coming out is Superman Man of Tomorrow. I just watched Justice League Dark Apocalypse War the other day, which was the end of the shared universe story of the animated DC universe, and it was fucking dark, man. Holy shit, it's really good, but it is. You want to see some of your heroes get ripped to pieces by parademons that have Kryptonian DNA infused in them? Holy shit, it's some dark shit. But it's also really good. It's an R-rated film. John Constantine is a major character and one of the main characters, and but it's a really kind of cool, awesome ending to, but dark ending to the shared universe that they have, and it features characters from the Titans, from the Batman movies, from the Superman ones, from the Justice League. And it's really great. And then, but the next movies that they've made that have come out are going to be a kind of a new, fresh take. They're going to be concentrating on animated versions of DC Universe stories, comic book stories, and just new takes on things. Then, like I said, the next one coming out like in a couple weeks is called Man of Tomorrow, and it's Superman's not so much his origin as how Clark decides to become Superman. When he develops the costume and stuff like that. And then the one after that is Death in the Family, which is the story of a more updated version of the story of the second Robin and how he was killed by the Joker. Now, the interesting thing is that it'll be an interactive film. It's going to have 3 different endings, 3 different story paths that you can take. Because in the original, when they originally did the story in the mid-'80s, there was a phone number you could call whether you wanted Robin to live or die. And there was, through a fairly small margin, the fans voted that they didn't like the second Robin, Jason Todd, and they wanted him to die. So he died. Now he was later resurrected, and some mess and whatever happened later on. But
Lazarus Pit, wasn't it?
It was Lazarus Pit, among other things. It was Superboy pounding on the. It was Superboy Prime pounding on the interdimensional walls that shifted reality, and then Jason got found. He wasn't dead. He crawled his way out of his grave, and then they dumped him in a Lazarus Pit. And like I said, it was a bit of a mess. But he's still alive now, and he's the Red Hood. And so it looks like this story, you can take it in 3 different ways. Robin dies, Robin is killed by the Joker, Robin triumphs, or Robin gets away, or something like that. It looks pretty cool. It looks like it's going to be pretty badass. They don't have a release date on it yet, but I would imagine probably in the fall.
Well, we should start wrapping some things up. There were some other things that I wanted to get to real quick. The Hawkeye TV show, we had an announcement. A sort of announcement. Yeah. It looks like Haley Steinfeld, the girl who's been rumored to be playing Kate Bishop, has now signed on to play Kate Bishop. So we've got that. Another thing that I just saw because I've been watching stuff on HBO Max, and I saw an ad for that. I'd heard about it, but I hadn't seen any trailers or anything like that for it. That actually looks kind of cool. Is again on HBO Max. It is Lovecraft Country, which is a Jordan Peele, J.J. Abrams show.
Yes, I've heard some good things about this. It features an African-American main characters, a couple of African-American main characters, about them navigating the country in the 50s, in that time frame, fighting against a Lovecraftian kind of villain, but also dealing with the culture of the time.
Yeah,
and being.
I'm definitely gonna check it out. It looks like it could be really cool. I mean, they show like a dead body laying with blood all over on a dock, and all you see is it just moving across the dock and going into the lake. Right.
Yeah, I think. Jordan Peele. I mean, the guy can do no wrong. The guy's amazing.
He's the new king of horror.
I mean, he is. The movies he's made. I didn't see This Is Us or Them or Us or whatever it is yet, but I did see the first one that he made, which was really fucking badass.
I haven't watched any of the new Twilight Zone.
I haven't watched the new Twilight Zone yet, but it is on my list to check out. I've heard really, really great stuff about it. Yeah, Jordan Peele, on top of being a comedic genius, he's just a really amazing writer and has a really great take on horror and some really great stuff. So, yeah, anything Jordan Peele, I'm down. I'm totally in.
I haven't actually seen any of
Give it to
me.
me.
I just heard good things.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to think of what else here. Like I said, the Farscape, there's a really great Farscape for those of you guys like the Farscape show. Some really fun stuff in the Farscape to be continued panel. Apparently, there is there's some rumors and whatnot, and the Henson Company is looking for a way to revive Farscape.
I heard that, and that would be amazing.
And that was something that was talked about on in the panel. It is Farscape is now on Amazon Prime, the entire thing. So they said, hey, watch the show on Prime, and if showing it on Prime is one way to kind of show that what. Me love. I said, what? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, we're glad we can help you, CD. Apparently, he doesn't like Robin. Yeah. So.
I had heard that Farscape that they're talking about reviving the show, and I think that would be awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I loved Farscape. Absolutely
and
adored
actually,
it.
that's the next one on our list. Once Renee and I are just starting season 5 of Chuck. So we got 13 episodes, and it was we've got another half a season.
Right. Yeah.
So we've got that. Once that's done, we're gonna get back to Farscape because we started Farscape when it was streaming before, and then it left whatever service it was on. I think it was on Netflix, and disappeared. And when we started watching the DVDs, because I have the entire series on DVD, except for the Peacekeeper War movies.
I have that.
And
I have that.
And we started watching that, but that was kind of a pain because if we stopped watching for a week, we're like, oh shit, which disc were we on? What where were we at? That type of thing. So we kind of fell away from it. We actually got away from it for a while, and we haven't gone back. But now Renee's actually asked that be the next one that we go back to. So we're gonna probably pick up with season 2 again.
Doesn't she have a problem with puppets?
She doesn't like puppets, yeah, and it is a puppetry show.
Mm-hmm. 2 major characters are puppets on that show.
Yeah.
I hope she's all right.
Pilot and Rigel.
Pilot and Rigel. One last thing. One of the things I have to address on one of the panels that I put up was the Nathan Fillion conversation.
Yes, I just started watching that before the show. I had to stop to come on the show, but
it is fantastic. He brings on Gina Torres at one point to talk to her. He also talks to
Alan Tudyk.
Alan Tudyk. He also brings on Joss Whedon. He also brings on 2 of the guys from Castle, the cops that were on Castle, and he just talks to various different people that he's worked with and how great they were and how much fun that they've had working together.
He's another guy
and stuff. He talks about how until he was on The Rookie, that Firefly was his favorite show that he'd ever worked on.
Well, and it still was
his favorite experience.
And The Rookie is a close second.
Well, he says that, Rookie and he and The Rookie are on the same page. So I'd be interested to see how they're going to, what they're going to do on the show. It's got to be tough being on a cop show right now. Being part of a cop show with how much negativity there is about the police and defund the police and everything. So I truly feel that the character that he plays on that show would be one of those guys that's like, well, maybe we should be listening to the public and maybe we should be doing things better and right and stuff because he is such a good guy. So, but the thing is that The Rookie ended on a pretty dramatic, season 2 of The Rookie ended on a pretty dramatic cliffhanger. So I'm sure they'll finish off that storyline first before they start to get into Black Lives Matter. And
I'm sure they will touch on that a lot. That show, I don't think will shy away from that at all. I think it's a great medium for them to be able to address it.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. So
I also liked that he was talking originally. They were talking about him being on Buffy and playing Caleb.
Yes.
He invented the sexy priest.
Yeah.
But he was talking about, he's like, well, I auditioned for Buffy way back.
Yeah.
Like, I auditioned to play Angel.
Yeah. That would have been different, huh?
Is that really true, or is he just BSing?
No, I bet you that was probably true. He was probably right around the right age. And, he's probably, right around the age, maybe a little bit younger than Boreanaz, but not much.
I think
right around the same age.
Than Boreanaz.
Oh, that's what I meant. Right about, maybe a little bit older, but right around the same age. They can't be that much different. I think he's like 48.
Oh, Boreanaz is 51. Boreanaz is older than me, so he's actually younger than Boreanaz.
Okay, yeah.
Villian's the same age as me, I think.
Yeah. He's like 48, 49, something like 48.
He's 49. Okay, yeah, so he's 6 months younger than me.
Yeah. So, but yeah, guys, it's a great fucking interview. So definitely check that out if you have the means. So you got anything else? You think we should wrap things up? On that note?
I think that's
all right, guys. It's kind of funny. We realized last week we didn't do the things that we got kind of wrapped up in kind of wrapping things up, and we didn't do but it was kind of funny because we did kind of freeze up at the end anyway. But we didn't do our reminders that we do at the end of every show. Guys, remember, you can stream us or download us from all the places you find quality podcasting. Ladies and gentlemen, you can get us at iTunes, Google Play Store, iHeartRadio, radio.com, Stitcher, Spotify, and of course, you can download and stream all of our shows from nerdswithalcoholshow.com. And of course, now on Twitch and YouTube.
Yeah, and please subscribe if you haven't already to Twitch. We could really use it. But yeah, you can also follow us on most of the social medias. You can find us on Facebook, Nerds with Alcohol Show, on Twitter at Drinking Nerds, and Instagram, Drinking Nerds. We're also on Untapped. You just search for Drinking Nerds and send us a friend request, and we will get you added. We're also on YouTube and Twitch for Drinking Nerds. So
exactly. We should just change everything into Drinking Nerds.
Well, if you go to drinkingnerds.com, it actually takes you to our website too. Because I did get us that domain. So.
Well, very cool. All right. I think that'll about do it.
That's going to do it. All right.
So until next time.
Sláinte.
Sláinte.
That was pretty good.
That was a pretty good one.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.